Greetings, everyone. I'm Pastor Terrence L. Kennedy from the New Hope Community Church in Harlem, and welcome to the Long Island Gospel Sounds. Listen, I'm excited because the incomparable Professor Jeff Roberson allowed me to fill in for him today, and I am so glad. But more than that, and on top of that, I'm excited to be sitting here with New York's blueprint, the incomparable, the dynamic, my sister, Melonie Daniels. I call her Melza, though. What's up, Melza?
What up, baby?
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really, really good.
You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. Tried.
The Glam Squad pulled it all together.
What the children say, I got a good beat.
You got a good beat. But listen, we've been talking about doing this, and I was excited when you and Jeff had invited me along to be a part of this. And I think this is going to be such a wonderful experience because everybody knows of you.
Right.
But there are a lot of things about you that people don't really know.
Yeah.
They see the Melonie Daniels on stage. They hear the Melonie Daniels on recordings. But just to sit down and talk to you about what do you think about things, how do you feel about things, right. I think it is a pleasure. And we've had a friendship and I remember first meeting you several years ago.
Through my brother, who was actually working with you on some projects.
Right. Well, that's when we first started working together. But
right.
I remember us meeting at Hampton University, the
wow,
Ministers Conference.
Yes.
The Clark Hall after conference sheds.
Conference sheds.
Those were amazing. I remember, hearing you singing with the Love, Peace, and Joy singers, our beloved late Bishop David Gates.
Yes.
So you have just been just throughout. We've crossed paths and we finally got to work together. I also remember you when you were working with Mariah Carey and you guys had needed a choir for Anytime You Need a Friend.
Yes.
And a group of us had come and you came and you taught the parts for us. And so I got to see you not only as this singer, but in your teaching mode, in your vocal directing mode, and just all of you. But most of all, we've just become friends all the more when you got to you agreed to record on my first CD.
Yeah, your first CD with he does an outreach in Harlem called Reach Week.
Yes.
And this was what, 2015?
2014.
And my brother actually was working with you as your engineer.
Pastor Wayne Daniels, yes. And I had wrote a song called Come In, and you recorded it, and we've just been tied ever since then, and we've done a lot of great things. But listen, not about me. This is really, really about you. This is really about you. We want to know, when did you first realize, how was it first discovered that you can sing?
I don't think I ever realized it because I just was doing it. According to my older siblings, I have 3 older siblings, an older brother and 2 older sisters.
And you're the baby.
And I'm the baby. And they remind me all the time that our parents put me in a choir when I was 3, because that's when I would sit still. It was because they were church workers.
Right.
They were in ministry. And by the time I came along, because I'm 9, 11, and 13 years younger than my siblings, they didn't have babysitters. So wherever mom and dad went, that's where I went. So when they worked at the church, I was at the church, and many nights they would be there during rehearsals, doing Bible studies, church meetings, and as a little toddler and running around the church acting crazy,
Sure.
The only time I was still was when there was music.
Right. Wow.
And I would be laser focused on that thing. I would just be like paying attention and listening to them break apart and teach them. Yeah, exactly.
Those were the
So from the time I was 3, they put me in a choir, and the rest, as they say, is history.
And speaking of your family, tell us about your siblings, because you come from a musical family as well.
Yeah. My like I said, my brother is the next to me in age, Pastor Wayne Daniels Sr.
Sure.
He started out playing drums Then he discovered he had a voice, and he started singing. And he started a group with his then girlfriend, but now wife, Amelia. And from the time they were in high school, also sang with Amityville Gospel Choir. Our high school started a gospel choir in the community. Grew up. Donnie McClurkin was one of our musicians in the community choir. Bishop Anthon White was another musician because his dad was pastoring at Little Zion at the time. Now it's Zion Cathedral. So those were all the people that we were always around.
Right.
Yeah, so I was always surrounded by music.
The show is called Long Island Gospel
Yes.
Sounds. Talk to us about the Long Island experience, meaning what gospel singers do you remember influencing you? Those either musicians
Yeah.
or singers on Long Island. Talk to us about this.
Rubenstein McClure,
Rubenstein
major
McClure.
influence. Sister Glenda Ankrum Adams, her mother, very well-noted singer in Long Island. Elder Bond, he had a church in Wyandanch, Church of God in Christ. My own choir director, Elder Donald Hubbard. Known him since I was like 7 years old. Pastor Charles Churn, my parents used to follow his ministry around, so he always had us involved in that ministry, major deliverance ministry. So we was always singing, always something active happening. Faith Baptist Church, Hempstead, New York, Pastor Joseph Howell Sr., then is Joseph Howell III, the one that's the choir director now. But his dad was my pastor for several years. Growing up in my home church, our church choir became very, very well known in Long Island for going out and singing at musicals in the Long Island area. So, like I said, always surrounded by the music. And then not just the church side, but when they found out I could sing at school, I used to sing at all the little assemblies and in the school concerts, and I was a Girl Scout, so I used to sing at those events, singing in school plays and things like that. So it was a balance between singing at church and singing in school and other events as well.
Now, I was raised in Manhattan and parts of Brooklyn, but my point is saying that the boroughs are very different from Long Island, right? So you bouncing back and forth, like for those who were never raised on Long Island, what can you say about what was the community like? What was it? Because you have shared some stories with me about how rural some parts of it is.
Very country. A lot of people don't realize how country Long Island is. I grew up in a town, Amityville. Excuse me, I said that real fast. Amityville. And a lot of it for many years until like the last 40, maybe 50 years, it was farm.
Wow.
Most of Suffolk County was farm. Like everybody got their potatoes and their vegetables and their produce and stuff from the east end of Long Island. It's known for wineries and vineyards. But those wineries and vineyards used to be farms back in the day. When I was coming up in the 70s and I was born late 60s, but growing up in the 70s, it were always farms. So very country.
You just said something magical that I did not remember to talk about. You said you were born. She's a Taurus.
He's a Taurus.
That has to be kept in the right. We share our birthdays a days apart, so we always. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether this story is going to make it or not, but I'm gonna tell y'all we celebrated our birthdays this year, and we went to see. Well, we went to see a Broadway show. It was a group of friends, and afterwards we went to go get something to eat, and the waiters recognized Mel. And so they came and brought a birthday cake, and
it was apple empanadas.
Was it? I thought it was a tres leche cake.
No, it was an apple empanada I asked for apple empanada. Yeah.
So they came with the candles and everything, and most waiters would come singing "Happy Birthday," but this was like in May, and they played over the loudspeaker "All I Want for Christmas." It was like the first, we were like, ah!
I was like, wow.
I guess they saw you in videos or something,
must have been.
and they just recognized that for her birthday, she got
That
all
was
I
the
want for Christmas this year.
funniest thing
It was-
I've experienced in a long time.
It was absolutely hysterical. But that just goes to show how much people love you and how New York has embraced you as being, one of our own that we can be proud of. I feel like you're one of our national treasures.
Wow.
And you represent us well, and you know what else I love about you, and I say this to people all the time, not just because I'm sitting in front of you, but I've seen you in different circuits. We've traveled together.
Right.
I've seen you do open mic. I've seen you in church, and you are always Melza.
Yep. Always the same.
What you see is what you're gonna get.
I really, personally, I don't have the bandwidth to pretend to be something else. There's too much to remember.
But that's what makes you beautiful. That's what really makes you beautiful, and that's what, because I think you are a good example that it is possible to be gifted and humble.
Absolutely. And also, be true to what you believe and what you walk out as far as being a Christian.
Right.
You don't have to subscribe to the way everybody else behaves. You can still do what you need to do and honor God and have godly integrity and character.
Absolutely.
And get the work done and be known to do that.
And be kind.
And be kind.
And be nice.
Yes. It's
Right?
nice to be nice.
Just be nice. Gifts are wonderful and gifts are biblical and they are, and God gives them, but I don't care how gifted you are if you're not nice.
Nobody wants your
If
gift.
you don't know how to treat people. And I've seen you handle people from all walks of life, from around the world, where there were cultural differences, language barriers,
Right.
and you just always embrace, and you're very encouraging.
You know what? I think that came from the things that we face during life. I mean, everybody's got a story. Mm-hmm. But being a little, first of all, people trying to figure out what I am because of my racial background, my heritage.
What is that? Let's answer that, because they sing the Michael Jackson song. Is it black or white? What? Let's put that right. Let you answer
Mama,
it.
baby,
Black or white? Right?
Well, I'm both.
Right.
Okay. My siblings were all full-blood brothers and sisters. And my niece did ancestry on my older sister, Lorelei. And found out that our background is 48% African, 52% European.
Okay.
I don't know what tribes
Right.
on either side.
Right.
But that's what they say the breakdown is.
Okay.
So, and our family has been mixing from great grandparents' parents to us.
Okay.
So, and because most of our family comes from Virginia, which is the first place settled in the United States as the colonies.
Right.
So we've been mixing for a very long time.
And there was that thing called slavery.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that.
That we all got a little bit of something in us.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's great to settle that.
Yeah.
Let's hear it from you, because sometimes people see you from a distance. They see you on stage and they see
Or on the screen.
Right.
Yeah,
Your skin complexion, your eye color, and they don't know who you are. But then you open your mouth and this ham hock comes out. Right? This neck bone comes out of your throat. And so they go,
Well, hot water cornbread. Yeah.
So they go, yeah, I know lorries when I see lorries, right? So, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know you've been asked that.
Yeah.
I know people have wondered, but it doesn't matter, because we love you and we appreciate you. Meaning, it doesn't matter in terms of you're just Mel,
Right?
And you've never
Basically.
made those kind of distinctions, and it's just. But I'm glad that you said it, so we can y'all can put it to a rest. She said what she said. Okay.
My 48% is strong.
Listen, let me ask you this: musically has influenced you? Singers. Just I know there's probably a lot because I know you're one of those singers that you listen to all kinds of music.
I listen to everything.
Right. Just give us some ideas, like who influenced you, like names that we would recognize.
I'm gonna probably say more names than you don't recognize. Stevie Wonder, number one. Layla Hathaway, she's a contemporary because we were around the same age. Alita Adams, Julie Andrews, Carol Burnett, Dick Van Dyke, Sammy Davis Jr., Nat King Cole, Phil Collins, Phil Perry, Steve Perry from Journey, the Stray Cats, Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, Ohio Players, Parliament Funkadelic, the Clark Sisters, Andre Crouch, James Cleveland, the Winans, Dorothy Love Coates, Rosetta Tharpe.
You kind of like a musical buffet.
There's a whole lot.
A stew.
There's a whole lot. It's a stew. Yeah,
it's a stew. So, are there any particular singers that you heard being played in your home?
Well, here's the funny thing. I found this out actually when my mother passed away a few years ago in 2015. We were giving remarks at the service, and my sister made a comment. She said, our mom, remember those postcards, anybody 70s, 80s kids, remember those postcards we used to get in the mail for Columbia Record Club? My mother filled out one of those things, but she never checked off a genre. So because she didn't check a genre of music off, we got everything. From musicals to spirituals to jazz to popular to contemporary Christian to rock, popular music, swing.
Wow.
I mean, everything came to us. So, and classical. So all those kinds of music were a major influence. And then because I was so much younger than my siblings, I wasn't allowed to touch the radio or the record player. So what they listened to is what I listened to. So my musical acumen was quite mature.
Right.
I mean, by the time I was 3, I had a crush on Tom Jones.
Really?
And when I was 4, I had a crush on Al Green.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Did either one of them know this?
No.
Okay.
I would still probably pass out if I was in their presence.
Al Green. And Tom Jones.
Tom Jones.
Okay. So who do you have a crush on now?
I still got a crush on both of them.
Okay.
Because you can play their music and I'll just be like.
So okay, those are singles. What about, do you have any favorite bands?
Yeah. Ohio Players, Tower of Power from Oakland area. They were known for their horn section. They were like the Caucasian version of Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, okay.
The horn section and the big band and all of that stuff. Mint Condition, the guy bands like Tony, like I said, Foreigner, I mentioned them. Genesis from England. That's who Phil Collins was a lead singer. Peter Gabriel was the lead singer before that. I'm very much into knowing the background and the backstory because I like history.
Sure.
That's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. I love to find out the origin story of things to know what came before, so I can know how we're moving forward.
And you know what? That's kind of one of the unfortunate things about the way the music industry is marketed now. I used to read album credits.
I started reading album credits when I was about 8 years old.
And CD credits.
In second grade.
Yeah. And you would learn who sang background and who played on this,
who
and
played it,
who engineered it,
who produced it. Yep.
Yeah, we don't get to do that anymore.
Well, those little booklets that they put on the purchasing platforms don't usually work. So what we're trying to click on is like, I can't open it up.
Or it clicks onto an advertisement or something, right?
Right.
But just being able to read, because that's all a part.
That's education, yeah.
Yeah, that's education, and it makes that's all a part of music still.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you remember your first professional gig? What was it?
Wow.
And tell us about it.
Okay, first professional gig. I was just thinking about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about, this interview. I was 15, and in New York State, we have a music festival called NYSSMA.
Okay.
And I went to a public school. I didn't go to a private school. I didn't go to music school. So what they did is they chose the best students in the music departments to go and participate and compete in this music festival. I went to the Suffolk County version. It's called SCMEA. And I was about 14 or 15, sophomore in high school. Because I'm right in the middle of the year, so I turned 15. We did a recording with the choir. It was like 300 kids.
Wow.
And we recorded that concert. So that was my very first recording.
Wow.
At like 15 years old.
Wow.
And then my very first professional gig as a background singer came 2-3 years later. I'd graduated high school. I was directing my church choir. I was working. Hadn't made a decision about going to college yet. And I got a call from my junior high band teacher, Everett Collins, and he said he was playing for the Isley Jasper at Isley and another group called Surface at the time. And he's like, well, one of the guys from Isley Jasper, Chris Jasper, he's going to do a solo project and he needs background singers. He said, so I thought about you, and I'm going to take Otha White, Bishop Anthon's sister. He said, it's going to be on a Sunday. I said, well, y'all got to wait until I get out of church. I was very, very saved then. So they picked me up from church, and he drove us over to New Jersey. We were in this professional studio.
Wow.
And recorded the songs, and I was nervous about it before I went, and I told my older sister about it. She's like, you've been singing since you were 3. You're 18 now. You have 15 years under your belt of being instructed by choirs, and you started teaching choirs when you were 14.
Right.
You got this. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so nervous because I'd never been in a professional studio just as an individual with earphones on, standing in front of a mic by myself. I've always sung on a mic at church.
Right.
Horrible sound systems. So that was my first time professionally doing it as a background singer at 18.
Now you have such a muscle for that.
Yeah.
Right? But that has been years
developing
and cultivating.
Absolutely.
And that the studio is kind of like your home.
Yeah. It's a home away from home.
It's home away from home for you. So, but it started at 18 or 15, you said?
15.
15,
because
wow.
then people started calling me to do demo work. That's called demonstration, where you would go in and sing a song for someone and someone else would listen to it and then sing the song for their recording. Yeah, I did a lot of those.
You did a lot of those?
Yeah.
Have you done any that you heard over the radio?
No. I probably have and didn't remember it, because after a while the work started coming very consistently.
Right.
So like any other job, it was work.
Sure.
So it wasn't something that I kept in the forefront of my mind, because if I had to keep all of that stuff in the front of my head, I'd be a little bit more tick tick boom than I am.
Right. A little bit more.
A skosh more. And I do everything by association. So when I hear the song, when I hear the music for that song, then I recall it.
Got you.
So it's like it's somewhere in the terabytes in my brain somewhere, so I'll recall it. I've always wanted to go be hypnotized to see how many songs I really have cataloged in my head.
But you have a lot of lyrics in your head too.
Yeah.
You have a lot of lyrics in your head, because I've seen you spit some lyrics out your head. I'm like, is that what they were saying? Is that what they was? Oh, okay.
Those are the words? Oh, okay.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, I mean, and that has served me extremely well because I was always that focused when I would listen to stuff as a kid. So when it came time for me to start working with groups and working with artists, that skill that I had developed, I didn't even realize I was developing it.
Right.
But I always listened so intently to make sure that I knew exactly what the people were saying so that I could reproduce it in the setting that was necessary. They're like, how did you know that's what? I would be falling asleep. We had tape recorders back in the day. Anybody know what those are? Cassettes, you know.
Are you're telling us that you had a Walkman at what time?
But I was before the Walkman.
Is? Y'all know what a Walkman is?
I was before the Walkman. It was the little Panasonic joint that you had to slide the tape in and slap it closed.
And then
it had a little.
But you had to eject it to turn the tape
right.
over.
Yes, that. I would fall asleep with that under my ear, listening to songs.
So you also have skills with pencils of unwinding.
Turning
the tape when it got coiled up. You got skills, Mel. You got skills.
These are antiquated skills now, but yes, I do have skills.
You got skills.
You know what's going down.